Cedric here in Antwerp with yet another brew review, and today we are going back to our Australian friend in Northern Holland for a Bogdike beer. Like I said in the previous video, I'll put the link up here. Bogdike brews a range in the former peat colonies, the Veen Koloniën, and it's in the north of Holland. It's near Friesland. They use the local peat water, and they have an entire range. So I thought, let's try something else. And I took the wheat Weizen. So he is dipping into different styles from different places. There's also an Irish red ale, for example. Last time we had that Aussie beer, that Australian. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this entire series. The bottle is pretty much the same. It is I'm not gonna say generic. It is their own label. It is just black and gray with different opacities. I kind of like it. It is very calming. It is very chill. They have their logo here, the Bogdike craft beer or Dutch craft beer, and just the name Tarwe Weizen. They have a word about their local or their whereabouts, being the Park Hotel, where they brew, or actually the Brew Hotel Parkside, which is, by the way, nice hotel. Stayed there for a few nights. Bogdike Tarwe Weizen or wheat Weizen. This traditionally brewed Weizen is very drinkable, has a full creamy flavor and a fruity mouthfeel. Anything a Weizen should be, with 50% of wheats and Hallertau hops. And then we go on to the ingredients: water, Pilsner malt and wheat, Hallertau hops and white labs yeast, apparently. The beer is unfiltered and unpasteurized. 6 to 9 EBC and IBU 10 to 20. It does have 6.6% ABV, which is rather high for a Weizen, in my experience. But I have absolutely no problem with that. So let's have a taste. Plain black bottle cap. That looks quite nice. Traditionally, we know Weissbier, as being way paler. It is also incorrectly translated into witbier, white beer, here in Belgium or in Dutch in general. Why? Because Weiss, white, sounds like Weizen, wheat. And same thing goes for the English: wheat beer, white beer, wheat beer. Only in Dutch it is vastly different, being Tarwe bier. So not to be mistaken with wheat beer, but unfortunately it had already been done. So when seeing wheat beer, or when thinking wheat beer, we see a very pale, hazy, full white beer. But this is a nice gold color, actually a bit yellowish even. Very, very carbonated. A lot of bubbling going on, and very, very nice profile. Lovely white foam, quite dense, quite thick and creamy. It's like a ski slope. I love this kind of foam. This foam does exactly what it has to do, and that is protect your beer from oxidation. Yeah, so far so good, looking beautiful. This cannot come as a surprise, but quite a lot of carbon dioxide. A fair bit of acidity in the nose. They didn't list coriander, but I do get a slightly herbal scent, although that might be from the hops as well, because Hallertau hop is a very, very classic hop, but that does have some of those herbal aromas as well. So I might be fooling myself here. Quite bready, quite malty as well. A bit maltier than I am used to for a Weizen. But I can only applaud that because, sheesh, sometimes. Okay, so yeah, looks beautiful. Very nice scent, very nice aroma. So let's have a taste. Cheers. Okay. It's a bit different than I imagined. Quite a bit even. So different that I'm actually checking the best before date. But it says best before December 2025, so there's no problem there. Why am I checking this? Because it is quite sour, slightly acidic, sour, and thin, quite watery. And those are two things that I don't necessarily associate with a Weizen. A Weizen is traditionally quite dense, quite creamy, quite well rounded. And this is quite, yeah, thin, watery. It does have a lot of carbon dioxide, which makes up for the mouthfeel. And that acidity, of course, acidity is very well known, very well documented in wheat beers. Wheat is a grain that just does that. But here it is quite a lot. But I'm not thinking oxidation, for example, because it was closed off very neatly. We still get that sound when opening it. There is no damage whatsoever on the opening of the bottle. So it is just from the brewing. Now that was quite a lot for an initial sip, but sometimes it is a lot to take in, and I urge everyone to do this for themselves. If you're tasting beer, if you're having a tasting, if you're having an exercise, well, a good exercise is write down or say out loud what you are tasting, what you are smelling, what you are experiencing. I know for a fact that that made me a better taster. And I don't mean when you're at the bar and having your first lager of the evening that you have to talk to yourself. People might put you away then. Now it has a bit more headspace in the glass, and probably because it's warming up a bit as well, it does release some more of those fruity tones that they talk about on the bottle. I hadn't smelt them yet, but now I absolutely do. Very nice. It is also relatively boozy, especially for this style. And I wouldn't expect that from a 6.6 ABV. But of course, it is highly carbonated, and that boosts the ethanol flavor in the beer. I do get a lot of that malty, grainy, bready flavor. So the yeast did its work beautifully. And these are flavors that we actually associate more with a Belgian triple, for example, than with a Weizen. But I absolutely don't mind. And as usual, the after flavor is very neatly balanced, and that is always a nice go-to to round up a beer review. in the after flavor, I get way more of that wheat, of that grain, of that malt, a bit more sweetness, that acidity mellowed down way more in the after flavor. Very, very pleasant, very flavorful in the aftertaste. Nice work. I think that the only remark that I could make with this beer is, or the only two remarks, is for me, I could have gone with a tiny bit less acidity, although I do enjoy my sour beers. Of course, I just didn't expect it in this one. But that is on me, that is not on the brewer. And secondly, I would have liked this a bit more creamy, a bit more thick. So I don't know what I would do with this. Brew on a higher initial wort, because I think this is a 15.8 play dose. Yeah, maybe go for 18, 19, but then it will become a bit sweeter as well, a bit less acidic. So that is a double whammy then. Keep a bit more sweetness in there, a bit less acidity, and then that extra mouthfeel, or just brew with, instead of 50-50 Pilsner malt and wheats, maybe go 65-35, for example. So you get more protein, and that also thickens, or creams up the mouthfeel. But of course, tasting is subjective, and that is just my humble opinion. I'm not going to tell any brewer how to do his work. This is just a matter of personal preference. And talking about preference, I do have to score this. Let's stick with the classics, 3.5, because this is a very decent beer. I like it. It's not the best. It's absolutely not bad. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5. Neatly brewed. Okay, that all being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more, I have a bunch of playlists which are divided by brewery, by location, by beer style, anything you like. If you want to see even more and don't want to miss anything, subscribe, hit the bell icon, you'll get notified whenever I upload something. And if you want to support this channel, share a video or visit the Patreon page. Much obliged. Yeah. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.